Welcome to the Facebook live stream. It is Monday, February 12th, and we've got a special guest with us here, Mr. Jeremy Skillings of Hemptation, USA. This good-looking gentleman next to me in this bright blue shirt, which looks great on the live stream, by the way.
Yeah, right on.
That shows up excellent. Want to get into, we're going to do a few shout-outs. We're going to talk about some national news, some Vermont news, and then we're going to talk with Jeremy about Hemptation and about his background. If you have not seen it yet, go to headyvermont.com and Google Jeremy Skillings. If you go on there, you'll see we got a couple articles about Jeremy, and we'll talk more about his background. You can just hop in here. It's pretty free-flowing, loosey-goosey conversation. You can vape on camera too. Encouraged. Actually, maybe we can get a good screen grab out of it. So, yeah, blow some clouds, man. All right, so Facebook live stream. I want to give a shout out first and foremost. Next event coming up, Women of Weed. If you guys did not tune in on Sunday, go to our videos section and check out the Women of Weed live stream. We had Monica Donovan from Heady, Vermont. We had Ashley Reynolds from Elmore Mountain Therapeutics and Brittany Clark, also from Elmore Mountain Therapeutics. Those ladies had an awesome conversation. It was so cool talking about their experience as women in the professional cannabis industry, about the event that we have coming up, and about this movie. So we'll give them another plug because we're all going to be there on Saturday. There's a little hemp showcase at Maglianero beforehand that you can go check out from 4 to 6. But catch us on Saturday, Women of Weed. Say what's up to the ladies. For the people? A location for the people. Man, dude, you're good.
Hey, there we go.
This is natural. Merrill's Roxy Cinema. So if you're here in Burlington, Merrill's Roxy, come check it out. Like I said, 4 to 6, there's a little meet-up and showcase at Maglianero in Burlington. 7 o'clock movie at Merrill's Roxy, North Winooski in Burlington. All right, very good. Thank you. I want to give a shout-out also to Series Natural Remedies. We were at their event on Saturday. Check out that live stream that we did if you have not been in there yet. It is a wild setup, beautiful, beautiful display. I think they're technically one of the largest hemp stores in the country, if not world, by the variety of different products that they have. So again, go check that out on the Heady Vermont video section, because even if you're not tuning in live to hear all the fun in person in real time, and again, I'm reading these comments right now, so if you feel free to test me. If you have a question that you want to drop in there, we will get to it in the course of the live stream tonight. And as long as it's not too obscene, probably read it on air too. So thank you, David, for giving us props. The production quality is coming along. Appreciate it. So I will also, I want to start with a little national news, in part because it's self-serving and because it's timely. Hey, Jeremy, have you seen the Olympics? Did you hear about this? The Olympics are going on.
Yeah, tell me about the Olympics.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna play the Olympic theme song in the background. I just had an Olympic-themed trivia the other night, and I got to play this song a bunch of times, and it was a blast. So let me just play this underneath as I give you the Olympics update. We're kind of talking mostly about Olympics related to cannabis, obviously. Yeah. Olympics coverage on weed. Okay, there we go. There's the theme. So I'll speak up so you can hear both. You might know the question of cannabis in the Olympics. Back in 1998, there was a Canadian snowboarder whose name is Ross Rebagliati. They actually made a rule called the Ross Rebagliati Rule. In 1998, blanket ban on marijuana in Olympic competition. Canadian snowboarder, gold medalist, tested positive for trace amounts of marijuana in 1998 and was stripped of his gold medal. This is coming via the Cannabis. Bruce Kennedy on the Cannabis staff reported this. A phenomenal picture of some 1998 swag out there. So a gold medal has actually been taken away from somebody, a snowboarder. I don't know why people think snowboarders and marijuana, there's any crossover. It's crazy. But since that has happened a long time ago, 20 years ago now, 20 years later, in 2017, the World Anti-Doping Agency removed CBD from its list of banned substances. So right now, in international competition, the World Anti-Doping Agency, as far as they are concerned, CBD is totally okay.
Excellent.
It is no longer a banned substance.
Everybody hop on that.
Yeah. And we'll talk actually a little bit about one of the benefits of CBD isolate versus whole plant maybe.
Certainly.
And wrap that in. But I thought that was pretty interesting, and for people to know that 20 years later, CBD is not allowed in the Olympics. World Anti-Doping Agency allows it, but the Olympics do not. So anybody that's at the Olympics right now, they are not on the weed, including that kid Red something who just won the gold for the USA and taking the world by storm.
Yep.
17-year-old snowboarder bro, he's definitely never seen weed before in his life.
Nope.
And
wake up late on the day of the Olympics.
Did not wake up late at the day of the Olympics. Did not say the F word on the live stream. We didn't say it. He did on live TV. So, yeah, snowboarding and weed, two things that we've talked about quite a bit. Wanted to give people a little timely update since you're watching the Olympics and wondering which of these most... although the curling team, I want to say, if you are curling, I think curling on weed is probably going to be an Olympic sport in the next decade. Nice. And I would like to suggest that we really promote that.
Let's do it.
Curling's a very safe sport, so stay tuned. Heady Vermont Curling Tournament coming next fall. Woo! Okay. Other national news, Rick Steves, our man Rick Steves, he is best known to a lot of people as a PBS travel show host. He is also a board member of Normal. Rick Steves dropped about $250,000 of his own money into the Washington legalization campaign. So Rick Steves is an OG. He's a man that walks the walk, and he travels the country talking the talk. He appeals to a very different demographic, and I think a lot of people, they see that Rick Steves is a cannabis activist, and it blows their minds, to say the least. So Rick Steves, he's national news. He's here on the East Coast. Tomorrow on Tuesday, he's in D.C., Wednesday, I think he's in New Jersey. And then Thursday, he's coming to the great state of Vermont. He'll be in Montpelier at the State House. And then on Friday, we're actually going to get a chance. We're going to interview Rick Steves in this very studio on Friday afternoon. We're doing a live stream for the Marijuana Policy Project. Earlier that day on Friday at noon, he's going to be at the Skinny Pancake lunchtime discussion. We will live stream that from lunch, but acoustics, lighting, come out in person, get a chance to meet Rick Steves, have him sign one of your travel books. He's going to be here talking about, cannabis activism and advocacy and why regulation works and what they've picked up in Washington along the way. So, Rick Steves, you are going to hear a lot more about him because he's going to be, like I said, Washington, New Jersey. That'll make big news. And then up here in Vermont, which is the coolest news of all. So that's what's happening internationally. That is your Asian cannabis update, your Olympic cannabis update, and your public media advocate update. So that's what's happening nationally. Anything else that you saw that I might have missed? National stories?
Nothing going on. I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay.
Had my head in the Hemptation clouds lately, so...
I know. Well, and this is actually. Do you want to tell people what this is? As long as we're gonna vape while we go.
So this is a Pineapple Express hemp whole plant cartridge. It's a ceramic cartridge. It's got terpenes and hemp extract, and that's it. It's no chemicals, no propylene glycol, no vegetable glycerin. So it's got a real nice taste.
Ah, yes.
Nice effect.
The live stream viewers know their cannabis, and they know what we're talking about, and what you're talking about. So. If people have questions about that, you can drop them in because I know that is a great question about the, sort of additives, and that's something that people talk about a lot is like what's in your vape cartridge. Yep, more and more people are aware of that. So no propylene glycol, no veggie, terpsin.
Only cannabis-based ingredients. Cannabis terpenes, cannabis hemp extract.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Matthew says he met Jeremy a few times. Awesome guy. Shout out.
Hey, Matt.
Humble Roots Horticulture. Stay safe. It's not safety first. It's safety always. Yep. That's what we say. Ashley's in the live stream. Ashley from Elmore Mountain. Thank you again for being a rock star on Sunday. Make sure you guys check that out if you have not yet. And we'll make sure that you guys link up as well. Yep. You can also hit us up about coming on the live stream. We're going to do this every single Monday night. Right on. different venues, multiple angles. Damn. Good time to give credit to our man Sean, back behind the sticks here. This kid is an absolute savant and makes this high quality production possible. So you want to talk about live stream at events? We're happy to put you in touch with Sean. Our man is still in school, and it's not even for video. This is just other skills that he has. It's wild. Yeah, I know. Jeremy went to film school too, and I'm a video producer as well, so like it's serious. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Vermont news before we get into talking a little bit more about the company, because there is a lot. There's a lot going on. I'll start with the political stuff in Montpelier. A couple updates. Articles about saliva testing. This is a bill that's being proposed. You kind of have like Newtonian Einstein physics, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? One of the laws of physics. So legalization happens, a lot of pushback from law enforcement, and a lot of different ways. I think that law enforcement are pushing back on kind of the legalization and think about different laws that can be proposed. Yeah. A lot of it is in the guise of public safety. A lot of it is,
just barely
of anti.
You might have hit the mute button on it.
Oh yeah.
I may have.
Let's check that. We got a mute. We're doing a little live stream sound check.
Button on that side and it should either turn
Let's see if that pops back on. Yeah, it's still on. You talk a little bit here.
How's this?
Okay.
Now we're good.
Oh yeah?
All
Okay.
right.
I think it just turned off.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
All right.
See?
We're good.
On it.
So I know.
Boom.
It's really
Haven't said anything too
very
important
fortunate.
Yet,
So again, Vermont news starting out saliva testing. This is something law enforcement are saying that they need to have in order to keep the streets safe. You can probably imagine how I feel about that. It doesn't seem like this is going to go too far, in part because the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, has said that they are going to sue over this issue. Whatever you think about legalizing weed, the government taking samples of your saliva without a warrant as part of a roadside test, I think a lot of people would agree that that is a government overreach. And I'm not a conspiracy theory person. I'm not afraid of the government. They're hacking all our information, all that. But I'm not giving the government my saliva without a warrant. So saliva testing is something you're going to hear about, and it's something that is really important to, I think, contact your representative about. So we're keeping a close eye on that because as a civil liberties issue, it's horrifying. And so legalization of marijuana should not be an excuse for law enforcement to go to something as far as getting copies of your DNA. I don't know if you saw in China, they have the facial recognition software, the glasses.
Nope.
So in China, the police, they can wear glasses, and through a database using facial recognition software, they can sit there and scan the crowd. And if you have like a warrant, your face will be recognized by their like Google Glass. Crazy Terminator,
wild,
futuristic
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
Slippery slope, and saliva testing is really scary. Fortunately, it's not moving too far, too fast, but something we're paying attention to. So saliva testing, absolutely paying attention to that. Good news in Vermont is that with legalization, there is a lot of question about expunging records. People that have got marijuana
exciting.
Convictions, misdemeanors, felonies. Do you know anyone who's gotten a ticket?
No, not recently.
Okay.
Some old tickets that you pay money to the town and it's written off, but not recently. No.
Yep. And that is, I know that when Governor Shumlin left, he did a big mass expungement. I think like 400 people signed up and applied. So there are people out there, and if you are going to say it's okay for adults over 21 to use, then you can't keep punishing people who are doing it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The plant didn't change.
Yeah.
It wasn't any worse for you then than it is now. So that makes a lot of sense. That's really good news. Very excited about that. We're paying attention to that. One more political update from Montpelier. There is a bill that has been proposed. I want to give a shout out to Ben from New Grassroots. He's the one that gave me a heads up. This bill is called H819. 819. I will drop this in to the comments so you guys can take a look. I want to point out that I want to point out that with this bill, this hasn't even been assigned to a committee yet, but this is kind of a look ahead at how people who are opponents are using laws to kind of crack down on legalization.
Okay.
In this example, this bill H19, this would give local governments, so your town, our town, it would give local governments the ability to write you essentially a noise violation for the odor of marijuana. Oh. So you can literally get a ticket for your weed being too loud. Your weed is too loud, and you're getting a ticket.
Are they millennials who wrote this?
This is a real thing. Your weed, it's called the weed too loud rule.
Dude.
This is a real thing. So it hasn't gone into existence yet. The state law would let your local government. So essentially the idea is that for your crusty like salty neighbors who might complain about, the weed smell. Yep. Now again, in Vermont, like you have to get your landlord permission if you're going to grow and you don't own your own house. So that's not really affected by the law, and theoretically if you're consuming, you got to get your landlord's permission.
Right.
Weed's not like cigarettes, thankfully, one of the many advantages. It doesn't really stink up the house, so I don't see this being a huge issue in Burlington, but if this law were to pass and you had a neighbor who maybe is complaining about you smelling like weed, your apartment smelling like weed, they could call the cops, essentially just like a noise violation, and they could come knock on your door and say, your apartment stinks like weed, your weed is too loud, and write you a ticket. So that's terrible, but I want to keep having this discussion because the weed too loud bill that's just awesome. I can't believe that's really a thing. And I was writing this up and I was like, noise violation, your weed's too loud.
I can see how, walking down in Providence when I used to live there, there's a lot of medical marijuana patients over there. So if you walk, down certain blocks, they're right in the center of town. The whole place smells like marijuana.
Right.
So I can see how looming legalization and concerns of the whole town smelling like marijuana could be an issue.
Well, and that's the thing.
Certainly something to talk about.
Well, and that's the thing. Like with legalization, you can't smoke in public, and you can't smoke anywhere that you can't smoke cigarettes.
Right.
Right. So like if you're smoking anywhere, and previously I don't think there was a civil fine for smoking in public, and now there is.
Interesting.
So that means that if you're smoking a joint in public pretty much anywhere, and the cops come up to you, they can just write you a $100 ticket. So, that's kind of in place to protect, like you said, you don't want to walk down Church Street. Nobody wants people to walk down Church Street and have it stink like weed, right?
Even me.
Like, I mean, I got younger relatives too. Like,
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody, and we don't need to put it in everybody's face all the time, too.
I bet it's my battery, man.
Yeah, I think the battery was flashing a little bit, so.
I could swap it out, or I could just give you this right now.
I can give you this.
No, that's cool.
Whatever is easiest.
No, that's cool. Let's just take that and we'll keep it rolling. So, there are some laws in place about public consumption. Those already exist. Shout out to Josh hopping in here. Points out in San Francisco and Seattle, they're also talking about expungement. What's up, Josh? We miss you, buddy. But the weed too loud bill, that would be something that if you're living in a college town in particular, like figure out where your neighbors are at.
Yep.
Like this is a good opportunity if you're being proactive, you're being responsible as a consumer. You talk to your landlord might be cool. Your landlord might let you grow in your house and give you permission, and then you don't have to worry about it. If your neighbors have, say, hey, go talk to them and say, hey, on July 1st, I heard this is going to become legal. We might have a party and there might be people on the porch. If you're really sensitive to this smell or you have any issues with it, here's my phone number. It's called being proactive. That's one thing that can really help people out. So wanted to mention that the weed too loud ordinance it's out there. It's Bill H819. Shout out to Ben again for sharing that. Make sure to check out new Grassroots. We'll be talking a lot more about that and political stuff in the future. The other thing that I wanted to touch on quickly is other big news, hemp feud. Man, Vermont's got a small, tight-knit, pretty insulated cannabis community.
It's true.
Between you and I, we probably know mostly everybody,
Yeah.
and in various contexts. So it's a good opportunity as we see people beefing online, as you see disputes, as you read about them in the paper, and as you read about them on Heady, Vermont. I'm really happy to say that we have an editorial wall in our coverage. So I don't write the articles when we cover these things because I know everybody and I'm biased. We put the disclaimer. We do business with a lot of people, so we put the disclaimer out there. But then we've got our independent editor, our independent reporter. They're the ones who do the writing. So we appreciate that we're able to cover all sides because people know us and they know Heady, Vermont. But when these sensitive stories come up, you know, I'm really happy because Monica and myself are not the ones who are doing the reporting. You know, we've got our relationships, there's business stuff, but the editorial wall is getting stronger and stronger and higher. So shout out to Morgan True, our editor, who's been a killer addition. And shout out to TG Brandfault, who wrote an excellent piece for us looking at one of these hemp feuds. But all in all, it's just a good opportunity to take a second to step back and remind people like how small this community is and that all of us who are in it all the time, like this is our life, we live and breathe it. People out in the public, 75% of the people probably out there are still just barely learning what CBD is.
It's true.
You know, so it's too small, and Vermont's too small a place to have beef and not work together. So I'm going to throw it out there. I'm extending my arms. Everybody, you're all welcome. We want to work with all of you. And honestly, like, we're talking about the police doing saliva. We're talking about saliva testing, and we're talking about the neighbors calling the cops because, you know, so we have other issues to think about as a cannabis community.
Don't call on each other. We got other people to
That's
worry about.
Right. That's exactly it. Let's put the unity in community, guys, right? All right. If this seems like a more upbeat episode than usual, give credit to the credit to the Terps, man. Pineapple Express got a good clip going here. But I just wanted to touch on that and say it was a good chance to do a PSA and talk a little bit about show love.
Definitely.
You know, and I think for the most part, people out there are good actors, man. People aren't doing really sketchy, awful shit. People aren't misrepresenting what they have. You know, things are evolving, and it's like there are growing pains because this is something that's a new industry, I guess. As far as like being an industry, right?
Yeah.
In the year 2018,
paying a bunch of taxes for
yes.
CBD. This is a new thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Paying taxes. So, as somebody who pays taxes as a CBD owner, let's talk a little bit more about kind of your background for people that have not read. Check out Heady, Vermont, because we've done a few profiles on Jeremy as an artist, as a business owner, and a ganjapreneur. And I want to talk about what you have for products here with Hemptation, but maybe just start kind of with your own personal background and how you got into this whole wacky world.
Certainly, definitely. So my name is Jeremy Skillings. Hey to all the people from all the Facebook groups in downtown and Ohio and Texas and all around the United States. I own Hemptation Infused Goods. In 2013, I moved down to Providence, Rhode Island, and got my medical marijuana card.
From Mass, right?
Nope, actually, well, yeah, my Massachusetts doctor was able to sign for my Rhode Island card.
Okay.
2013. So that afforded me the opportunity to grow cannabis, and to figure out how to personalize a plant, how to turn a plant into not just any other cannabis plant, but something that fits my specific medical needs. So I did 2 years of growing down there. 2015, I moved up to Burlington, Vermont. Started working for the Champlain Valley Medical Marijuana Dispensary. Did a lot of cultivation for those guys, did a lot of trimming for those guys, packaging, earned a position as their carbon dioxide extraction technician. So that's basically taking a big machine about the size of a pickup truck, taking CO2, carbon dioxide gas, pressurizing it, and extracting the resin from medical marijuana plants.
Wow. So CO2 extraction experience.
Yes, definitely.
And kind of like you said, I mean, professional experience in a dispensary here.
Yep.
After a few years of doing it down there as a registered caregiver and patient. All right, rad.
Yeah, so that's, and those the oils that I made, they're like super concentrated oils. They're really along the same lines as what you're getting in the hemp products. Just we're using a low THC product with the CBD products, and we're using a high THC product in the medical marijuana facility. So it's the same equipment, really.
Same equipment, same technology. Wait, so do you mean people in the hemp CBD business right now could potentially be involved in adult use marijuana in the future?
Yeah.
Do you think there are Vermont companies out there who are doing CBD
I think
that
they're so
might
excited.
want to go to THC in the
I
future?
think they're so excited.
Woo!
Although without
Sheesh.
the regulated market, there's only so much you can do. But we'll get it going here in Vermont, one step at a time.
I just had to point that out because I talk about it all the time, and it's like, yes, these experiences, it's a plant.
Yep.
And if you understand the botany, the biology, the technology, the cultivation, and the science, you can do a range of things.
Exactly.
So, all right. So, what did you do after your time in the medical game here?
Yeah. So it's been about a year. About a year ago, I started a vending cart, and that is on the intersection of Church Street and Cherry Street. We're along the "You Are Loved" mural. It's a nice, beautiful mural that they put up last summer, right across from Ben & Jerry's. And at that cart, I sell CBD products by Charlotte's Web. I'm a licensed retailer for Charlotte's Web. They've been really good to me.
Nice.
And I also sell CBD goods by my company, Hemptation Infused Goods. So that's. Oh, I also sell photography products, stickers, T-shirts, cannabis-themed jewelry. So it's a really fun place. I'm blasting reggae all day, vaping on vape pens, answering questions. It's a fun environment.
Talking to a lot. I mean, I've hanging out down at the cart and seeing the conversations. Like everybody who's in the CBD game, there's so much education that's always involved.
Always.
And your position being down there, like a block perpendicular to Church Street, right across from Ben & Jerry's, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the mural people in Burlington know, but right across from Ben & Jerry's, like prime time.
Yeah, if you're at the intersection, just listen for some reggae. If it's warm out, there's probably reggae, and it's probably us. So come hang out, come say hey. Yeah, that's the spot, man.
So the all right, so the cart, and we've written about the cart.
Yes. Yep.
And just to clarify too, for people that are just tuning in with a dispensary, independent. That's a different thing. You don't work with a dispensary anymore. You're an independent operator here.
I am. Got my own groove going on now.
All right, good. So there you go, Amber. That's for you. I'm clarifying that for you if you're watching, Amber.
Nice.
Okay, so
going into Hemptation.
Yeah.
So Hemptation, the products are about 9 months old, or I started making the products about 9 months ago. We use Colorado CO2 hemp extracts. All of our extracts are tested for microbial bacterias, tested for potency. I have a really good trusted source. Eventually, we're going to hop into the Vermont hemp scene, but it's just not there yet. I don't know what people are doing. They're still ramping up, getting used to it and learning. So we go with something that I know is trusted and true. So
and that's something that it's interesting, and part of why I want to have you on talking about this now. Your website is Hemptation USA.
Yep.
Right. If you look at Jeremy's products, if you look at the Hemptation products, if you check out the website, it's a straightforward about where your products are sourced and why.
Yes.
And I think we see there are different ways to start in the cannabis sort of business and in the CBD hemp business.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about this actually with Elmore Mountain, right? About kind of establishing a company, establishing a brand, learning what you're doing sort of along the way with materials that you know and trust.
Yes.
And then expanding that sourcing. Right? If you open up a restaurant, you don't typically start 100% local.
Right.
You build a following, you build a menu, people know what you're doing, you get a rep. And then you start offering more and more and more.
Yeah, just little, this is right from your town. This is right from your town. I'll go into it, but yeah, I've got different infusions from Vermont products. So, we're starting to hit the local scene. And especially this summer, we're really going to hit the local scene, but I'll get into that.
Yeah, lay it on me, man. And if you want to give so you mentioned you're using Colorado CBD and hemp.
Yep.
Maybe give us kind of a range of the products, and if you want to point out these ones, do that too.
So it's
but we got a real nice focus on camera too over here. So
nice. Yeah, it's Colorado hemp, and I like to say it's Vermont infusions because we're doing all the blending, all the mixing, all the packaging, all the business over here in Vermont. And you know, as we go, I'll try to add as many Vermont products to mix in with our Colorado hemp as I can. Currently, and I've got a list because it's getting up there. Do we got a camera? Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So currently I've got CBD infused oils. Those are olive oil and coconut oil with hemp extract. We also offer the free edition of Cannabis Terpenes. Every terpene has an aromatherapy benefit. So if you're looking at lavender, that has a lot of the terpene linalool in it. Linalool is calming and relaxing. You know, I could go on through the whole cycle of terpenes, but
you could, which is part
really,
of that's.
yeah.
I know it's really impressive because you talk about doing this like 5 years in, and a lot of people know something about terpenes and more familiar, but it's like, no, let me give you like the clinical breakdown of all of them and what they do.
Maybe we'll do a Monday terpene session.
Ooh,
but it's so heady that, you know, I'm just going to do a kind of an overview. But that's the point of terpenes. You know, they really help to direct the cannabinoids to do certain things. So also we've got CBD wax. I'm not going to point them out. They're just up here. That's for dabbing, smoking. CBD isolate slabs, those are super popular. Those are for dabbing and smoking as well.
Yep.
We've got infused honey. That's one of the Vermont products. That's Colorado hemp mixed with Be Happy Vermont honey. That's from Starksboro. That's my buddy Pedro in Starksboro. You see him at the farmers markets, especially on, what is it, Saturday?
Yep.
Downtown.
Burlington.
Yeah, you'll see him like every Saturday.
Be Happy?
Yep, Be Happy Vermont.
Cool.
Infused bath bombs. We've got ones that wake you up. They've got terps that are energetic and uplifting. And then we've got a bath bomb for relaxation and sleep. Then we've got the vape cartridges, which are kind of limited release. I'll make them every so often.
Yeah.
They don't make us, you know, really any money, but people like them, and you know, they help people out. So when I got some extra time, you'll see the vape cartridges too.
Not the primary focus though, right?
No, yeah, just, you know, people really like them. People are really happy with the cartridges, so it's something that I feel like, you know, if I can, why not?
Yeah. And you do consulting services too, right?
That's right.
Okay. I mean, you hear them talking shop, like obviously knowing what's going on here.
Yeah. So that's the Ganja guides. That's I mean, it's all rolled into the same pie, but we do cannabis consultations, whether it's effective use or cultivation if you're a medical patient, or you got some legal questions. You know, we love talking cannabis, so we do a lot of consultations too. In the future, the near future, we've got bottled CBD infused terpenes coming up. So you can add them to your vape or just vape them on their own. That's basically this solution here.
Cool.
We have a CBD muscle salve, which is up in the front, and I think that'll be up in a week or two on the online store. Local collaborations are coming up. We've got a CBD tea with Momo's and Stone Leaf Tea House.
Nice.
Which is, very exciting.
Cool.
We've got a hemp gelato coming up with Shy Guy Gelato. And then we've got two different CBD coffees. One of them is going to be with Uncommon Grounds, and the other guy is with Scout & Co.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's, you know, it's going to be a big year. Yeah.
Well, and that's, you know, and that's the, I'm writing an editorial right now on like, who's the Vermontiest of them all, right?
Nice. That's what's
and I love this because like you have been able to be a gateway for all these other companies that you just mentioned, who are interested in it. Like you're growing your business in Vermont, they're growing their business in Vermont, and you also do a fair amount of online sales too, right?
It's true, definitely.
So that's another big thing because like you're doing business, you're making local collaborations. Unlike a lot of other people, you're not really using the Vermont kind of brand as much, you know, and that's one thing I see that distinguishes you from other Vermont kind of CBD providers. You know, and I know people, it's a cool chance to put like a local face behind a name that could be, you know, the company could be from anywhere.
It's true.
You know, like you're successful because people like the products and you've got great reviews, and I see directly how hard you work. and being a creative, really multifaceted, talented guy.
Appreciate it.
But that's one thing, maybe talking about kind of building this brand based on the product, yourself, and what you're doing instead of a location.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody, especially with cannabis, and again, you're not yet using all local source yet, but maybe I'm interested about that experience, having a company that's branded in cannabis, but not specifically about the Vermont Cannabis Company or the New Hampshire White Mountain CBD or anything,
Hemptation USA, there's people everywhere, are using CBD. And so I want to make it available to people everywhere. We ship to all 50 states and we offer free shipping. And I guess the company was really started out of education. People had questions and concerns, and I saw some of the products out there were not as advertised, or they're just poorly made, making people sick or itchy. And I said, well, I could make a product that's a whole lot better than that. I've been doing this for a decade, so
let me take what I learned in medical marijuana, bring it to consumers with CBD.
Exactly. And so, the local touch is going to be a focus for this year, but, focusing on the rest of the country was primary. And I think I've got a lot of people in your cast. I've seen a lot of names from people on the internet, just out there in, various states in the United States. So it's good to see them out here.
Oh, they're out here.
Yeah. Awesome.
Two more. So I want to, speaking of local, I'm going to ask you in a minute.
Yeah.
Where people can find this.
Excellent.
And also encourage them to check out, what's your Instagram handle? Hemptation?
Hemptation USA.
Hemptation USA on Instagram.
Same with Facebook, too.
Same with Facebook. Hemptation USA.
Too. Look at that. Hemptation USA.
Crazy.
Was that a coincidence?
Wow. What are the chances, right? The random name generator. Put all three of them.
Yeah.
All right. Hemptation USA. So before we tell people where they can find this stuff in Vermont, one of my favorite pieces that I think is something that we're coming back to more and more now, that you wrote for us, explaining some of the advantages and disadvantages between whole plant versus isolate, and maybe explaining just the basic, what's the difference, and why would someone choose advantages of maybe one versus the other.
It's a great question. A lot of people ask it. A lot more people should ask it. Basically, there are a lot of differences between CBD isolate and a hemp whole plant extract. But the main difference that you want to focus on as a consumer is that a whole plant extract contains multiple cannabinoids. So with Hemptation's whole plant extract, you've got CBD, you've got CBG, and you've got THC. You've got THC up to the legal amount in a hemp product, which is 0.3%. That's our maximum amount of THC. And then with that small amount, with 0.3%, generally that's thought not to cause a high. So CBD products and hemp products are that's why they're legalized for infants in Vermont.
Sure.
They don't cause a high.
Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, Charlotte's Web specifically was, well, they didn't name it as being the one that they were like, oh, you can use it and your kids can use it and your infants, but that's the one. So that's, having that bit of THC in it makes it an effective or more effective extract, but you also run the risk of failing a drug test if you're being drug tested for THC. It's hasn't, to my knowledge, happened with any of our products, but it's totally possible. And I'm not going to say that, it's impossible just because it's illegal hemp. It contains THC, so it is possible to fail a drug test using whole plant hemp extracts.
And part of this isn't specific to your product. Part of this is just about bioaccumulation.
Yeah.
And this is what I've heard. So if you're somebody who's taking a whole plant extract and you're putting a 0.3%, you're doing like a concentrated tincture or capsule or something, you're putting that into your body every single day. That 0.3% is going to accumulate faster than your body can metabolize it.
Right.
So you could theoretically, again, I haven't heard of this happening. I think you got to smoke real weed to fail a drug test. But theoretically, that is one of the things to keep in mind with whole plant extract.
Yes, definitely.
Most people, I don't get drug tested for this job, believe it or not. I assume you don't either?
Nope.
Hemptations?
Nobody
Okay.
comes to my house and knocks on my door and tests me for drugs.
Right.
So.
But that is one thing to keep in mind that I think is really important, because it's going to happen to somebody eventually.
I mean, it has. It's happened to some of these tests that they're doing. And since we have a little time, I'll just mention that drug testing was a practice that was funded by a company that creates drug tests.
Weird how that
happens.
happens.
This is not a cool thing to be doing. It has happened, just not to my customers. Some of the tests are set to nanograms of THC, which is thousands of a milligram. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's if you smell some THC, you're likely to fail. I mean, it's not that heavy, but it's really hard to pass some of these drug tests out here. So in that circumstance, that's where we go over to the CBD isolate.
Right.
And so what these are is an extract that's it's mostly cannabidiol, an isolated singular molecule. Our Hemptation CBD isolate contains a minimum of 99.96% CBD.
Okay.
So that's 99.96. There's a maximum allowance of 0.04% THC, and our CBD can go all the way up to 100%. So it's something to look out for too. I've seen some CBD isolate that was 96%, and that's not 99.6%, and that's not quite as safe. There's a little more THC involved. So I think you're gonna ask a question. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to interrupt. I want to kind of ask, like, as far as the experience difference, right? Because I think people can understand, like, a whole plant, it's what it sounds like, right? You're processing that. It's not like you don't pick it up by the root and throw it in the machine. At least I don't know. You haven't shared those secrets with me
you
of
can
how the
chop it, throw it. I've seen it.
Maybe. But the CBD, when you have that isolate, it's really in like a powder form.
Yeah. It's a crystalline powder. Yeah.
Right. And so I think one way you could think of it is like caffeine. You could think of it as like a coffee, that has caffeine from the coffee bean and everything else that's in the coffee bean. Or you can have pure caffeine in like a 5-hour energy, or some other unbranded sort of energy drink where it's pure caffeine, and it's about the compound instead of the group of compounds, right?
Right. So they're different effects, and as you might guess, if you have less variety of cannabinoids, the effects are going to be less as well. So generally speaking, a CBD isolate is going to be less effective than a whole plant extract because it has only that one major cannabinoid, CBD. But the silver lining is if you're being drug tested, that's the safest option to go with.
So if you're somebody who's like a truck driver or I know we have a lot of astronauts that watch the Facebook live stream. We're pretty big down there in Cape Canaveral and NASA. So it is just like from a public information standpoint, because that's part of CBD, right? That everybody says it's legal, it's safe, it's, you won't fail a drug test. But in fact, like, that is a difference, and it's part of the public education.
Definitely.
For people asking, like, where, like, when you look at a CBD product, right now the public is like, what is CBD?
Right.
And I think that's the majority of the public. And a lot of the people who you're interacting with and online and, who come up to the cart and have maybe heard of it.
Yep.
The next question is, is this a whole plant?
Yeah.
Or is this isolate?
Right.
Or what's the difference? Like, what kind of CBD is
what's
this?
right for me?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's also the question of, like, where does your CBD come from?
Yeah.
These are all questions, like, those second two questions, some people are asking those and paying attention. More people really should be, and I think will be, as there's more awareness about CBD.
Definitely.
But, those kinds of layers of understanding, it's interesting because you're a guy who can talk to, I've seen it happen, 80-year-old grandparents who are totally not, down with weed. And you can talk with people who are OG growers and know exactly what you're talking about and talk, extraction and why, how you're able to make, vapes without those sort of nasty chemicals.
Right,
So
right.
as a dude who's able to go from like 0 to 100 really quick, I always appreciate that about kind of what you do. And products, because you get, you got stuff for beginners, you got stuff for experts and everywhere in between.
options for the people.
Let's talk about where people can find this stuff. The folks in Vermont who are watching.
Yeah, definitely.
Where are you at? Where are you at now? And I know there's a lot more in the near future, but.
Yep. So currently, we're doing a restocking through February. So if you show up and they don't have anything, just give it a week or two. We'll be back in stores. But you can find Hemptation products locally in Vermont at Burn Gallery, Full Tank, Garcia's Tobacco Shop, Riding High Skate Shop, and at Stash and Stow. Also at our vending cart when it gets into the warmer months. We'll be open April through September, October. You can also find us at Dragon Tree Tattoo and Gifts in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and Supreme Smoke in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, shit!
We're taking over.
Wow! All right, man.
Yeah.
You're a multi-state. You're big marijuana. You're a multi-state cannabis.
We're happy hippie hemp. We'll go there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Yellow Spring, Ohio.
Yeah, shouts out.
Raging metropolis.
And then, so also, as I said, we offer free shipping to all 50 states. And if you want to avoid the lines of the stores, you can just go to hemptationusa.com.
Beautiful.
Just as good.
This was awesome. We went super long because I had a great time talking with you, and we can do this all the time. Maybe we'll have to add you as co-host.
Yeah, we'll be back on a Monday for sure.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. We'll be doing more of this.
Excellent.
I will give before we sign off. I'll give a little thank you to Heads Up to 7 Days for not making me look like a total jerk in the profile. We shot pictures in here for about like an hour and a half, dead ass, and they found the one of me with my laziest eye. But I got no complaints, so I'll take that. 7 days.
Yeah.
Props to you. Keep swimming behind the boat, man. We're here.
Nice.
All right, cool. Hemptation USA. Everybody else who's out there watching, catch us next live stream Thursday in Montpelier. Rick Steves press conference. Mm-hmm. That'll be midday.
Excellent.
Friday midday, we'll have him here in Burlington. Skinny Pancake in Burlington. And then on Saturday, you can catch us at the Women of Weed event. In the meantime, if you are a cannabis company, you want to talk about the live stream, you want to get on here, talk about your company, hit me up, social media, eli@headyvermont.com. We're going to be doing more and more of this. Our stage is pretty badass and our set is killer, but we might even go to different locations. I don't know, potentially do some live streams. So we got a lot more fun coming. Stay tuned. Make sure you're on the email, the social, all that good stuff, and we'll see you later. Peace.